Nootropics for cognitive enhancement. So what are nootropics? So these are essentially natural compounds in nature that are used to improve our cognitive function, brain function, such as executive memory, all these types of things, spatial learning. So the difference between those and smart drugs are the smart drugs are pharmaceutical based, they're synthetic, and they typically have a lot of side effects, even though they may have some uses in some cases. But those are the difference between those two. And when it comes to the use of nootropics, we want to make sure we have our bases covered first. Like we're getting our diet in, our sleep, our exercise, all these types of things. And these things can be used on top of that. Say if you got a big project going on or you just want to stay focused throughout the day, all these types of things. And they should be cycled and use different ones. And we'll get into that. But essentially taking supplements like these can benefit us in many ways. And they're just cool to learn about as well. Now we're going to start with methylene blue, which was traditionally used as a fish tank cleaner. And there's different forms of them now, like there's food grade ones, but methylene blue is very powerful nootropic. And it's also beyond that. It's like very good for mitochondrial health, very good powerful anti-aging thing as well. And the thing about it is it's obviously blue, but it kind of like stains things. A lot of people get like blue tongue, which is kind of funny, but this is one of the number one things that I've used that's been actually useful and something that I've helped. And the cool thing about this is like if you take it like 30 minutes before you out in the sun or use use of red light therapy or photobiomodulation, it helps with the synergistic effects of that. So it helps the mitochondria enhance even more during the light. So it works on the cytochrome C oxidase in the mitochondria, which is a light receptor, which helps you get all the benefits. Also increases neurogenesis, or the creation of new neurons. Very few things can actually do that. This is also known to be a very powerful antiviral as well. So dosing would be 1 to 4 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. Next here we got lion's mane. Now lion's mane is known as a medicinal mushroom, and this has been used for thousands of years, and it gets its name because it actually looks like a lion's mane. So the thing about the doctrine of signatures, like if you look in nature, and you see how food tastes, functions, smells, it gives us its clue to what actually benefits us in the body. Like walnut looks like a brain, and there's actually a lot of like beneficial things in there for the brain, like omega-3s and phytosterols and all that. But lion's mane also increases neurogenesis, BDNF, brain-derived nootropic factor, like you get from exercise. It's actually used quite frequently when people get traumatic brain injuries, and it's really good for repairing the neurons and all that. It's also been shown in various studies to improve parameters of depression, anxiety, and mood disorders. Dosing here is 500 to 3,000 milligrams. Next we got something called Quality of Mind. Now this is a very powerful nootropic formulation that has like 28 ingredients that all work in synergy. All sourced from nature, are properly proportioned. And again, like this is something that I've been using for years, on and off. Like of course, like you gotta cycle these things. Caffeine is in this, and it's actually a little bit in lion's mane, by the way. And caffeine is actually very powerful nervous system stimulator, obviously, but a very good nootropic as well. As an aside on caffeine, you want to cycle caffeine, whether you're drinking coffee or whatever it is, because caffeine has a unique ability to fit inside the adenosine receptors in our cells. Now, adenosine is like this thing that builds up throughout the day and helps you go to sleep, right? So it's like a sleep pressure, but caffeine gets in these receptor sites and turns on non-sleep-like programs, all right? And since caffeine has a half-life of 6 to 8 hours, that means half of it is still in your system 6 to 8 hours later. It's something we need to cycle and give our systems a break from, and to help reset our adrenal glands and everything. So if you drink coffee every day, maybe switch to decaf for 1 week out of the month, right? Now, decaf still has like 10 milligrams of caffeine as opposed to 100 from a regular cup, but that's all good. It doesn't have to be zero, just, significantly less. So a good thing to cycle there. And the thing about it is like when we get back on the caffeine that we were doing after the cycle, it's like we were having it for the first time again. So we build up this tolerance for caffeine, but then once we take a break and give our system a reset, it's like that nostalgia of the first time ever having it. So that's another thing to keep in mind, is like we're actually feeling the effects like we're supposed to. Quality of Mind also has neurovitamins. It has essential amino acids, adaptogens, which are like these select few herbs that work on your body's hormonal systems and all the systems together to balance the stress, whether you need more stress or less stress. So giving your body exactly what it needs. Adaptogen. So reducing inflammation in the brain so everything can work properly. This dosing here is about 7 capsules. Because that's the thing, like when our brain is not functioning properly, like a lot of it is just getting out of the way. Like there's a lot of things in the way. Like when it comes to chronic disease, even like you want to remove the cause and then add in what's real, right? So our body knows what to do as long as we give it what it needs. Like our body is designed to heal itself. Remember that. Often we just need to get out of the way. The latest thing I've been using in terms of nootropics is something called paraxanthine. That's the name, but the brand is Update, Drink Update. In the same realm of caffeine, paraxanthine is a metabolite of caffeine. So when you ingest caffeine, it gets further broken down into something called paraxanthine, which is a very effective molecule of the caffeine. What this does is it is much more powerful and it's kind of refined. So you would think you get like the jitters and all that, but honestly, like I feel it's like twice as powerful as caffeine in terms of the effectiveness of nootropics. It's extremely powerful, and this Drink Update brand has synergistic ingredients like taurine, alpha GPCs, like these synergistic nootropics. And to be honest, this is the number one thing out of all the nootropics I've ever used. Drink Update, it's so powerful. And again, you want to cycle this, not have it all the time, but it's been really helping me time to time. I got a lot going on, a lot of cool projects I'm working on, and of course, I got all these foundational practices in place, but adding like things that help aid you in a intelligent way is a good idea, I feel. So in conclusion here, nootropics are these supplements that if you want to get fancy and add in some things after you have all the basics covered, that's a good idea. So cycle them, like try out different ones, see what works for you. There are certain ones like lion's mane you can take on a pretty frequent basis, but listen to your body, don't overdo things, and make sure you're doing the harder work of things like meditation, all the things we talk about here, like proper sleep, exercise, contemplation, knowing yourself. That's the foundation. And then going beyond that, adding things in strategically to optimize our life and our goals. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the show. For more, you can head over to anthonygastella.com for articles, coaching, and other free resources. Also, if you can, leave a review for the show, let people know what you think, and I would appreciate that so much. Support the mission of freedom. Thanks for being on this mission with me, and I promise to give you more powerful, empowering, great content to help transform your life. Thanks for tuning in.